Fox News alert now. Federal investigators saying the two suspects in the San Bernardino shooting destroyed their computers to possibly hide their communications with a large terror network. Agents also not ruling out a possible al-Qaeda connection, but they say Tashfeen Malik pledged her allegiance to ISIS on Facebook just moments before the attack. We're also learning Malik, a Pakistani citizen, passed a counterterrorism screening to receive a U.S. visa. It was conducted by the U.S. consulate in Islamabad. Investigators also revealing she and her husband, Saeed Farouk, may have planned a second attack. They say the couple tried to destroy computer equipment, hoping to hide evidence. Former New York City chief investigator and former police sergeant Steve Kardian joins me now. He's also the director at the defenduniversity.com. I just want to let you know that I'm going to have to interrupt you at some point during our conversation in less than 2 minutes. San Bernardino Sheriff's Office is going to be holding a presser, and what we've been tipped off on is that they are going to be using the word terror when describing this massacre.
It's about time. Good, and thank you. Thank you for having me. We certainly believe, it is a terrorist attack. Why can't we use those words? Enough of the political correctness. We are in an age where this is a terrorist attack.
It's being reported that Tashfeen Malik, the female shooter who opened fire at the Inland Regional Center, had pledged her allegiance to ISIS. She did it on Facebook. When I hear of this, it angers me to the core. First of all, where is our cyber terrorism security on the internet? Wiretapping. Apparently, Saeed Farouk, in fact, had cell phone conversations with those who were being investigated with connection to terror and possibly ISIS. These are two obvious cases that could have been prevented.
Well, you look at the JTTF, the Joint Terrorism Task Force, and the FBI. They are spread so thin. We have such an influx of potential terrorists, people that are going to harm our country, that they're overwhelmed. They're overburdened.
I'm going to interrupt you, and
Sure.
We're going to go to San Bernardino. Let's listen in. Okay, this news conference they're preparing right now, I'm told by my producers. I think they're probably doing mic checks, but let's just dip in and listen.
I do want to go forward today and tell you that as of today, based on the information and the facts as we know them, we are now investigating these horrific acts as an act of terrorism.
And there you have a live news conference with big news coming from this. The FBI saying that this is an act of terrorism they are investigating. The ATF also joining them there. The FBI, though, talking and reassuring the public that they have no other confirmed further threats. I should remind you, they did not have information on these two now terror suspects that killed 14 people in California on Wednesday. So then where do we go from here? Rejoining me now, former police sergeant Steve Kardian, also the former New York City chief investigator. What do you take away from this news conference?
They've made a tie to radical Islam, likely ISIS, because she pledged to them. So right. we have a confirmation that this
Which is no surprise.
International.
This is not a shock. We all sort of saw this.
It's just a verification of that fact, and they're going to go forward. I'm sure there's a lot of information that they have that they're not going to share on both the incident and the two individuals.
Okay, but the wife, I need to talk about her.
Sure.
Because Tashfeen Malik, she lived in Saudi Arabia. She passed a DHS counterterrorism screening in order to obtain her visa as part of her vetting for the K-1 visa, the fiancé visa program. Earlier, the White House discussed this when one of the reporters talked about the Syrian refugees and the screening process. And they admitted that the Syrian process and that refugee screening would be much stricter than allowing a Pakistani national who lives in Saudi Arabia to come into this country. What is the screening process? A simple fingerprint?
Basically, for the K-1, for the DHS, for her to come here to get married within that 90 days is merely a fingerprint. If she doesn't have a criminal record on file, it won't show up. And their records there are not the same as here.
These two met on a dating website. He went to Saudi Arabia in 2013. He got engaged to her. In 2014, he stopped attending his mosque, where he attended regularly twice a day, and even got in arguments with people about Islam being a peaceful religion. The writing is all over the wall, and we allowed this woman into our country.
That was the weak link. Well, that is a weak link, that we have allowed her to come into this country, and this is the end result.
And today in a news conference, the White House refused to say that they dropped the ball or that perhaps Homeland Security dropped the ball. Let me tell you, they dropped the ball. Steve Kardian, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Senator Lindsey Graham with more reaction after this live break. We're going to be right back.